Master Your Mindset with Nate Schooler and Kim Adele.
Hey.
Hey, I had a bit of a glitch my end with that, but never mind. Never mind.
It's lovely.
Well, it sort of froze when it was speaking. When my sister was speaking, she did a great intro. So, what are we actually going to be talking about then today on our reflections, Kim?
So, I think we said we were going to reflect on self-care and mindset, and particularly because both of us have had a week where self-care has come up for us, hasn't it? So, I had a trapped nerve for about 6 weeks and finally decided this week that it might be a good idea to go and get that sorted rather than just continue to try and overthink the pain. And then you had, you had the 30-degree day, didn't you?
Yeah, I should have really been looking at your face while I was talking about how hot it was, to be fair.
Well, it would. Well, I have been teaching you face whispering for a reason, so that you can actually understand the emotions as they are on the face. Unfortunately for me, you weren't watching where you live.
No, I was too hot to even think, seriously. So today I've got the aircon on. I just don't like having aircon on, but actually when it's really hot, you need it. But I tell you what, there was this, so basically I connected with this girl on Tinder, right? And she's Russian, yeah? So I was like, so I sort of looked at her picture and I could tell a hell of a lot about her attitude and stuff. And it was really interesting, the whole thing. Actually reading people is so important in life, right? And yeah, you've been teaching me so much about reading expressions and also combining that with words. It's fascinating, really.
And it's all about helping us be the best communicator that we can. So, I believe at our base, we all want to be listened to, we want to be understood, and we want to be respected. And that's what I want to do for the people that I interact with. I want to listen to them, I want to understand them, and I want to respect them. So for me, learning this new skill was about how do I better communicate? How do I understand what's being said when it's not being said? And also, how do I prepare better for going into a conversation with somebody? And one of the beauties, as you know, is as part of the face whispering stuff is we do personology, and that's where you can look at a picture and you can see based on people's features and where they how they show up, then actually you can find out quite a lot about the person's likely personality, and that can allow you to tailor your conversation so that you can interact better. I had a fabulous breakfast this time last week, actually, with a good friend of mine. And she was like, go on then, read my face. And I was like, are you sure? And she was like, yeah, tell me. And I said, right, based on these bits, I would say that these are some of your core personality traits when it comes to work. And she's like, oh my goodness, you've just read me like a book. So then the next night I'd gone to theirs for dinner. I've not really met her husband before. And she said, well, read his face too. So I did. And he was like, oh my God, this stuff's amazing. And I was like, it is really insightful. And it just allows us to make sure that we're communicating the way that we wanted to communicate. With so many people now investing in brand and advertising, understanding what emotions your images are actually going to invoke in other people is crucial, because you might inadvertently be off message. In fact, I was looking at the number of people who on LinkedIn, their profile picture is actually demonstrating contempt. It's genuinely scary. And if they knew that, they'd probably change it, because I'm sure that's not the image that they are trying to portray on the platform like LinkedIn.
Yeah, I agree completely. I think some of these LinkedIn profile pictures are quite funny, really, to be honest. I think the more honest that you are about who you are and your attitude and the positive message that you want to put out, it's like absolutely crucial, right? And I mean, you and I have been given like creator status recently. I think they're rolling that out kind of globally, right? So, I recorded literally just like a 30-second bit of intro. And it's surprisingly difficult, actually, to get everything that you want to say into this kind of 30-second thing. But I did probably 5, maybe 7 takes, and I kind of looked at each one, and I was just like, well, because of what you've sort of been teaching me from your training and certification within the face whispering world, I've kind of picked up a lot of understanding about not only what I look like, but also what other people look like, and also what their pictures look like, right? And to be correct about this system that you've basically been studying for quite a long time, right? It actually is the same system as that they use in the FBI and the camera recognition. Is that correct?
Yeah, so it's based on the facial action coding system, which was designed by a gentleman called Dr. Urquhart, and it is used in facial recognition software globally, because what it teaches us is that there are 49 muscle movements in our face, and irrelevant of our age, our gender, our culture, even in fact if we were born blind, we use the same combination of these 49 muscles to demonstrate the same 7 human emotions, and therefore we've got a universal language. And the problem that we've got, or rather should I say the opportunity, is these micro expressions can last as little as 1/25 of a second. And that's because our emotional brain responds 24 times faster than our thinking brain. So at the point you go, don't show this emotion, it's already out there. It's already out there for people to see. So understanding it, being able to recognizing it, spotting that somebody in your team is anxious or fearful, so that you can actually give them more support, could be a vital skill for leaders, particularly in the challenges we're facing right now with mental health, or recognizing that somebody is in need of more support, or is happy or sad or angry, would just allow you not to call them out. This is not around being able to say, you look this, it's around asking better questions. So, if I'm delivering some training and people look confused, it allows me to open it up and say, can I just check, is this landing properly? Is there any part of it you'd like me to just unpack in a little bit more detail? You're creating that safe space for somebody to go, I'm not sure I understand, without feeling like they've got to sit there and they can't say anything. So all of it is about how we better engage with each other, but also with our pictures and our words and how we're messaging out to other people. You might say, well, okay, it's all right for you, Kim, you've been taught it, and actually you've now taught me it, but nobody else knows these things. But you have those moments, don't you? You look at a picture and you'll go, something's not quite right. There's something a little bit off about that, and I don't know what it is. That's because our subconscious knows what these emotions are, but we don't have a label for them. So we don't know what it is that's making us feel uncomfortable about it. And the lady who taught me this, the fabulous Adrienne Carter, she was sharing with us that she'd done some market research around some of these pictures, and in that they've got same picture of same woman, one time smiling properly, and the next time it was a put on smile, and everything else about the study was exactly the same. And they did swap things over midway through to make sure there was no left-right bias, etc. It was a proper test. But 80% of the people that took free samples took it from the picture with the genuine smile. And that's because there is something that compels us to go. It's why we look sometimes at people and go, oh, I think I'm going to like them, or maybe I'm not going to like them. It's all what we're getting from the emotions that are actually being communicated to us all the time, whether we want to or not.
It's very interesting when you think about how many billions of dollars is spent upon leadership training, upon marketing training, branding, taking photos in essence as well. I mean, if you can get a photographer who actually understands what a look is going to be perceived in a certain way, right? Like the difference to the bottom line is just, I don't think it's actually quantifiable, because it's actually the difference between life and death for some people. Because I know one of your training modules had something about someone who had committed suicide, right? And it's that serious. Like if you can spot the early signs of someone being stressed, being upset, being disorientated or unsure of a situation, then you can help them by asking questions or framing the conversation in a certain way, so that you can help them to move beyond whatever obstacle is sitting there in their life, right?
Yeah, because and you know, we talk about this in conversations all the time. When there's any element of fear, people sometimes will respond in one of two ways. It's either violence or silence. So either they'll become very aggressive, very assertive, very loud, or they will quite simply remove themselves from the situation and go very silent. And neither one of them moves the situation forward. But if you're really anxious, if you're really starting to suffer, then actually often you can't ask for that help. You don't know how to. And yet, inadvertently, you are asking for it all the time because your emotions are out there for people to see. We've just not taught people what to look for. And you know, one of the things I do with kind of my leaders is can you really lead with emotional intelligence if you don't know what the emotions look like on the face? Because you're missing that part that comes so fast that the person can't control it. So actually, it's not when somebody says to me, yeah, how are you doing? And I go, I'm fine. When I say fine, I mean fed up, insecure, neurotic, and emotional. The one thing I'm not at that point is fine. But if they were really looking at me, they would see that, because even at the point I'm going, just tell them I'm fine and move on, because I don't really want to talk about it. I will have already have given away the fact that I'm not fine by my emotions, because they will have shown, even if they were fleeting, they will have shown on my face. And therefore being able to really understand those just allows us to ask better questions and to create those safe spaces for people to be able to step in and ask for help if they need it, or just be listened to. It's amazing the impact of genuinely listening to somebody, to understand them, not to interject. Is Caroline sums it up beautifully. Listening is an act of love. Giving time to somebody to genuinely understand them is an act of love. And it's such an amazing gift. And it's in all of our gift to give it to somebody.
It's fascinating. The deeper that you dig into understanding other people and understanding leadership, understanding marketing, branding, messaging, communications, and how those things fit into this system so well. I'm just kind of blown away by it, really, because I've been studying tech, as you know, right, for probably about 7-8 years, and like IBM invited me to a roundtable to talk about artificial intelligence and things like this, like back in, I think it was 2014, maybe 2015, and at that point, we had all these systems in place, but no one really knew that, like, actually to detect terrorist behavior and detect suspicious behavior, we were using a facial recognition decoding system. And like, no one really knew that, right? But now, using it as an individual and using your brain with it, it just takes things to a whole new level, right?
Yeah, because it really is about properly connecting with people. And I think that's what we're here to do, isn't it? Is to properly connect and to really learn from each other and to grow. And I think, for me, it's really improved my communication and the impact that I have with people. And it's been quite interesting because everybody you talk to about it is like, oh my God, that's fascinating. But they also immediately go like this and go, what's my face doing? What am I showing? And I'm like, I don't whisper people's faces all the time. It would just put them off. But actually, in certain situations, it's an invaluable skill to just enable me to better communicate. And that's my aim in life. My aim in life is to leave things better than I found them. And to do that, back to, I guess, what I learned as a hairdresser is your role, and I believe this to be the role of a leader as well, personally, is to listen to the person, to understand what's really important to them, and then to try and create that experience for them so that they get what it is they need to be able to be the best version of themselves. That's what we're here to do for our people. It's what I used to be there to do when I was hairdressing. And it is down to that simplicity of leaving things better than you found them.
Yeah. And that, that goes to intent, right? Like, if you have the intent to manipulate someone and you behave in a certain unethical way, then sure, you could use this system in the wrong way. But that's the same in it's been like that for years anyway, right? So having the right intentions on how to use this is absolutely key, because yeah, like you say, leaving someone better than you found them and bringing something positive to the world is like absolutely crucial, right? But I know you've got a massively busy day. Yeah, I think I'm not sure what you're doing today. You're busy, so yeah.
My is her second ever induction as we speak, which is why I've got to run off in a minute, because she starts big school. So we are getting used to their transition. It's all about growth, isn't it? But it's been lovely to chat. And if anyone's interested and wants to know a little bit more about the facial decoding training, or even having an audit of your pictures so you can see what they're telling your people, then please do get in touch at hello@mastermindset.co.uk, and we would love to chat. Until next time, have a fabulous weekend.
Yeah, enjoy. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks for listening to